Okay, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Rocky Cobb. I'm chair of the astronomy department at the University of Chicago. And we're here for the ceremony of the unveiling of the Edwin P. Hubble stamp. Edwin Hubble was born in Marshfield, Missouri on November 20th, 1889. His family moved to the Chicago area in 1898, eventually settling in Wheaton, Illinois at 225 Franklin Street in 1901. Hubble graduated from Wheaton High at the age of 16. He was a star athlete at Wheaton High. His favorite sport was football, but he excelled at basketball and track. For many years, he held the state of Illinois intercollegiate high jump record with a jump of 6 feet and 1/4 inches. Hubble enrolled at the University of Chicago as a physics major just before his 17th birthday. While an undergraduate, he worked in the laboratory of Robert Millikan. As a sophomore here, he won the award for the best physics student. His grades seemed to slip a bit during his last 2 years, possibly because of his involvement with the powerhouse athletic teams of the University of Chicago. He lettered in track and basketball, and he was a member of the 1909 National Championship basketball team. He is generally regarded by people that 6'2" is the perfect height for a man, and that was Hubble's height. But it was rather short to be a basketball player. He was a starting forward on a national championship basketball team, and he did something pretty remarkable in one game. He scored 12 points in a 17-15 victory over Minnesota. Hubble was also a member of the track team coached by Amos Alonzo Stagg. This is a picture from the 1910 Big Ten championship basketball team. After graduation from the University of Chicago with an undergraduate degree, he was one of the first Rhodes Scholars at Oxford University. At Oxford University, he studied law, the only blemish on an otherwise great record. In 1914, he returned to the U.S. and settled in Lexington, Kentucky. And across the river, he was a high school physics teacher in New Albany, Indiana. He taught physics and Spanish and also coached the men's basketball team at New Albany High School. And for those astronomers, I'd like you to know that, in fact, you can make good use of bright time. That's an astronomy joke, sorry. As an observer. This telescope used by Hubble is still able to be seen at New Albany High School. He was quite a popular teacher. The graduating class of 1914 at New Albany High School dedicated their yearbook to Edwin Hubble. It's not often that yearbooks are dedicated to physics teachers. He returned to the University of Chicago in 1914 and studied at Yerkes Observatory and received a PhD in astronomy in 1917 for his thesis, Photographic Investigations of Faint Nebulae. An absolutely unremarkable thesis. After leaving the University of Chicago, his scientific career, of course, declined. But after military service in the First World War, he joined the Carnegie Observatories in Pasadena, where he used the 100-inch Hooker telescope to make 2 spectacular discoveries. On 6 October 1923, he noticed that a star in the field of Andromeda Nebula was not a nova, as he thought, but a variable star. This allowed him to set the distance scale to the Andromeda Galaxy to prove that the Andromeda Galaxy was outside of our own galaxy and the millions of faint nebulae that were seen by astronomers were in fact island universes. He went on in 1929 to discover the Hubble relationship, which is the basis of the expanding universe of the Big Bang. This is a reproduction of his 1929 paper. And for those of you who might be physics undergraduates, it's important to go to lab rather than play basketball so you can get the units correct on velocity. So he lost 3 points, actually, on this groundbreaking paper. Hubble was also a mentor to fledgling astronomers. Hubble's accomplishments in the field of extragalactic astronomy make him the greatest American astronomer of the 20th century and put him in the company of Galileo and Herschel. You cannot study modern astronomy without learning of the Hubble constant, the Hubble law, the Hubble diagram, the Hubble age, Hubble classification, Hubble radius, Hubble sequence, Hubble flow, Hubble velocity, and so on. But the only thing Hubble didn't do in astronomy is to construct the Hubble Space Telescope. It is altogether fitting that Hubble be recognized with a postage stamp. In fact, he already has been. But the real honor, of course, is to be honored on a United States Postal Service stamp, and that's why we're here today. So now I would like to introduce Mr. James Mark, Manager of Public Affairs and Communications for the Great Lakes area of the United States Postal Service. Welcome.
Yes. Anyway, thank you and good afternoon. It's certainly a pleasure and an honor to be here at the University of Chicago to recognize one of your most distinguished alumni, as well as one of our world's greatest astronomers. Today we celebrate American science and we pay tribute to astronomer Edwin Hubble, who was recently honored with a U.S. postage stamp in our commemorative series. Now, to give you an idea of just how special this honor is, consider these facts. There have been 73 Nobel laureates from the University of Chicago, but up until now, only one of your alumni has been honored with a commemorative stamp. It was very appropriate for you to have his portrait here for this event. So as you can see, this is indeed a rare honor. And Edwin Hubble was not alone in being honored. He was part of a block of 4 stamps that we issued in March honoring American scientists. Joining him were biochemist Gerty Cordy, theoretical physicist John Bardeen, and structural chemist Linus Pauling. But in a higher sense, what we're doing is we're really paying tribute to that incredible capacity that resides within us. You see, it's this combination of curiosity and intellect that inspired humanity to split the atom and to reach to the stars. And as all of you know, 2 events that took place right here at the University of Chicago. So in its highest form, this drive for knowledge and understanding is called science. It's an understanding that has transformed our planet. It's this understanding that's enabled us to conquer disease, expand our food supply, and increase both the length and the quality of life itself. As one of the preeminent astronomers of the 20th century, or as the preeminent astronomer of the 20th century, Edwin Hubble played a pivotal role in deciphering the vast and complex nature of the universe. He spent his life peering into the cosmos and expanding our knowledge of its wonders. In fact, he was the first to confirm the theory of Albert Einstein and others that our universe as we know it is actually expanding. And he also discovered that the universe is filled with galaxies other than our own Milky Way. And now, thanks to the Hubble Space Telescope, which was named in his honor, today we can look farther into the universe than he ever could. Pictures from this remarkable device are available to anyone on the internet. And of course, Edwin Hubble knew that science would press on with his research. He said, "The search will continue, The urge is older than history. It is not satisfied, and it will not be oppressed. So today we celebrate that urge, that overpowering curiosity to keep the human race moving forward. Today we honor the generations of scientists from around the globe who keep this search going. And it's also our hope that these American Scientist stamps will help spark the light of science in young minds everywhere, and certainly some of those young minds here at the University of Chicago. And today, as much as ever, we need the strength of science to help us overcome our global challenges and create a foundation for a brighter future. So now, on behalf of the United States Postal Service, I'd like to invite Professor Kolb to join me and to dedicate the Edwin Hubble commemorative stamp. So on the count of three, Professor, 1, 2, 3. What? Professor, we would be honored if you would accept this and find a prominent place to display it here at the university.
On behalf of our department, I'm happy to accept this, and it will be displayed prominently in this building and in our new building.
Great. Thank you. Thanks again, Rocky.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. You too.